Hello and welcome back to TUTV. I'm Joe McCurdy.
And I'm Avery Jamerson.
Avery, you weren't here last week, and we were able to discuss about some of the excitements we had about homecoming, and now homecoming's over. So how was your homecoming weekend?
Yeah, so I had a paper due, so while the whole bonfire thing was going on, I was in the library listening to all of it.
So Brad Carson was able to handle the burn ban. Unfortunately, the fake bonfire wasn't very impressive, but there was and I'm sure we will be able to see in one of our packages later, a very, very cool drone show. So if the burn ban wasn't a thing, I'm pretty sure it would have been the drone show and the bonfire, which in theory would have been really, really cool. Yeah. So I was lucky enough to sit there and watch it with my parents. They were disappointed that there was no bonfire, as all of us were.
And I also feel like this fall has not been as cool as it was last fall, so that bonfire would have been pretty hot, to say the least.
Yeah, it wasn't, it was pretty warm, but I hope that the weather turns cool again.
We're ready for fall.
Honestly.
Where is it?
I mean, it's windy enough for it to be fall, but not cool enough, unfortunately. And then, homecoming itself was pretty exciting with the UTSA Tulsa football game that somehow we escaped with a win. But it was a lot of fun. Did
you get to go to any other events?
No, I spent most of the time with my family. Nice. I only get to see them once or twice a year. So the fact that this was their first ever and probably only because I'm a senior, but their only homecoming.
Right.
So it was really nice to see them and spend time with them.
I've
been, it's been 4 years, so any homecoming events, it's all the same. So
yeah, Raging Cane, that is one I did go to.
Okay.
They had the car, like last time. They also had a vacuum cleaner that you could smash.
Interesting.
Don't really know what that was about, but if you have some anger, you can smash it out, I suppose.
That is a great opportunity for Tulsa students to express themselves, as we all need. So we will be right back. We will head over to some packages and to some news. Avery, we will see us later.
We'll see you later.
Hi, welcome back to the weather. I'm Caden Ketcher, giving you an update on what you can expect from Tulsa weather this week. We've had a hot few last couple weeks, and we've had the driest October and the driest September on Oklahoma record. This month we only had 0.011 inches of rain, but that's going to change in the next few days. So tomorrow we are going to have a 50% chance of rain in the morning, and then at night we're going to have 100% chance of rain and scattered thunderstorms throughout the area. Temperatures are going to cool down this week with a highs of 72 and some lows of 51 during the night. We will get some rain on Saturday, and that'll go all the way until next Tuesday. We should get some scattered thunderstorms throughout the area. And this will be the end of a month-long drought. Next week, temperatures will continue to drop into the 40s and 60s. We'll have lows of 40s, highs of 60s. So it looks like fall might be actually coming to Tulsa now.
Hi, welcome to TUTV. I'm Anderson Bell.
And I'm Hiba Saleh.
We have a lot of great news to get into today, so let's get right into it. Yesterday, Israel banned the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East, or UNRWA, following a parliamentary vote. Israel has alleged that UNRWA members assisted in last year's October 7th terrorist attack. The move was quickly met with widespread criticism, including from the United States and European Union. Independent observers have remarked that banning UNRWA may violate international law. The International Court of Justice has required Israel to allow the supply of humanitarian aid into Gaza since March of this year. Israel's claims of UNRWA employing October 7th terrorists are not entirely unfounded. The agency confirmed last Friday that a Hamas commander who kidnapped Israelis from a bomb shelter on October 7th had worked for UNRWA since 2022. 12 UNRWA workers have been fired for their connection to the terrorist attack. The absence of UNRWA in the Gaza Strip will exacerbate humanitarian needs for the roughly 6 million people it serves, including outside of Palestine. Fears of its collapse have already abounded since early this year, when major donor countries, including the United States, dropped funding in response to Israeli concerns. UNRWA is responsible for the maintenance of infrastructure in many Lebanese refugee camps.
Presidential candidate Donald Trump is facing new criticism from within his own Republican Party following a rally in New York City's Madison Garden on Sunday. The rally was opened by comedian Tony Hinchcliffe, whose set included numerous racist jokes directed at minority groups. Hinchcliffe called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage, referenced a racist trope about African Americans eating watermelon, and said of Latinos, they love making babies too, they come inside just like they did to our country. In response to Hinchcliffe's remarks, several Republican lawmakers, many of Puerto Rican descent, attacked Mr. Trump for potentially jeopardizing next week's presidential election. Trump performed better among Hispanic voters in 2020 than in 2016, and will likely need to maintain his gain likely need them to maintain his gains to win this year. Other Republicans have reacted with less alarm. Giancarlo Sopo, who works for Trump in 2020, said to The Hill, "At the end of the day, you know what really offends Hispanics? The prices they're paying at the grocery store." 16 Nobel Prize-winning economists warned in an open letter that Mr. Trump's economic plans for his second term would worsen inflation, which has slowed during the second half of the Biden administration.
International concern has grown in recent days over reports that North Korean troops are fighting alongside the Russian army in Ukraine. Yesterday, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte confirmed that North Korean military units have been deployed to the Kursk region, marking a dangerous expansion of Russia's war. To observers, North Korea's increasing involvement in the Russo-Ukrainian war signifies Russian President Vladimir Putin's increasing desperation to find a military breakthrough. Russia has yet to regain full control over its Kursk Oblast, where Ukrainian forces made an incursion in August. According to Ukrainian reports, many of North Korea's forces in Russia are concentrated in the Kursk region, where a Russian offensive is expected. In a statement released yesterday, the Pentagon promised not to limit Ukraine's use of weapons sent from the U.S. if North Korea joins the war. Ukraine had raised concerns over North Korean involvement in the war for weeks before the news was confirmed.
In Sudan, members of the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, conducted numerous killings in the province of Jazeera last week. In one attack, more than 120 people were killed in a single town. These recent attacks are among the myriad of atrocities Sudanese have experienced in 18 months of civil war. Since the RSF ignited the conflict by attacking government sites around the country last April, Sudanese civilians have endured ethnic cleansing, mass murder, sexual violence, food insecurity, and homelessness. More than 10 million people have been displaced in Sudan since the war began. Yesterday, the UN Security Council held an emergency meeting to discuss the humanitarian crisis. To many observers, Sudan has not received the level of attention that other ongoing conflicts have, such as those in the Middle East or Ukraine. Last month, World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said, "I think race is in the play here. You see it repeatedly, not just in Sudan."
All right, so a lot of stuff going on in the world today, very concerning things, unfortunately. But, we've got the election coming up next week. Do you have anything to say about that?
I'm worried that people will see the candidates that are on the ballot and not vote.
Yes.
Not even just for the candidates, which I think if you don't want to vote for the candidates, that's valid. But lower level elections, so state elections, retaining. In Oklahoma, there's 2 state questions that are going to be on the ballot. Yep. One of them is who can vote, and there are 3 justices that are up for retention.
Yeah.
So I'm worried that people will skip out on that election, and we'll have either terrible justices or a worse state because people won't answer our state questions.
For sure. It's as the old adage goes, all politics are local. That's where you can make the most change and affect the most. So, yeah, very concerning stuff. I plan on voting. I assume you plan on voting as well?
I do. Early election. I'm going to vote early, which in Tulsa is from the 30th to November 2nd.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on. I will be voting on Election Day because they have not mailed me my voter registration card yet, so I can't vote yet. But
Yikes!
I registered before the deadline, so I will be voting.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on, but I think that's all we have for today, so yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Hey, sir. Hey, come on. You got me singing Lottie, Lottie.
Hello and welcome back to our interview segment. Today I'm here with Cooper with the Software Engineering Club. Cooper, welcome to the desk.
Hey Joe, good to be here.
Yeah. So from my understanding, you co-founded this club. This is a new club on campus. Tell me a little bit about why you wanted to create this club.
Yeah, so the main issue is that there's a fundamental difference between the theoretical study of computer science and the practical discipline of software engineering. Okay. So what that means is, while we do graduate students who are strong in computer science, they're unprepared when they enter the industry for their full-time internships and full-time positions. They're lacking in skills that are used in everyday life.
So as somebody who's a media studies major, doesn't know a lot about computer science, software engineering, what are those skills that you offer as a club that will prepare these students as they graduate?
Yeah, so one example of a really basic skill that's only used by a handful of professors is called version control. What version control allows you to do is essentially look at past versions of your project and store them in an efficient manner. That way, if you end up making a mistake down the line or you want to revert to old work, you can do so easily. It also allows you to collaborate seamlessly among multiple machines on the same project. So for example, if you have 8 to 12 people working on the same repository, they can each contribute code individually and it can be merged together at a later date without much issue. That's a big problem because we don't use that in most of our assignments. Most professors just have you type your program into your editor and submit it as a file on Blackboard. We don't actually get experience with command line utilities like Git and GitHub that are used for version control.
Gotcha. So when you go to these meetings, what consists of a meeting for this club?
So we have a lot of different types of meetings. The main structure of the club is that we have a few running projects into which our team or our club members are divided. And so what that means is at some meetings, we'll dedicate time for each team to work on their individual projects and for the leads of those projects to check in with their team. But we also have plenty of meetings where we discuss other things. For example, later today, we're hosting a lecture about design patterns, which are techniques that are used in software engineering in order to simplify a code base. So we have guest lectures, we have student-led lectures and workshops, and we have general time for teams to work on their projects.
So obviously this is a club meant for computer science majors, meant for software engineers. What would you say to those students that are kind of iffy about coming out to these meetings, being a part of this club?
Absolutely, you should stop on by. If you're a computer science major, you are, well, everyone is welcome here, but if you're a computer science major, you are extra welcome here. We have a whole bunch of freshmen and underclassmen, which we are super proud of and super happy about, because it's really important to keep those younger classes thriving and transfer as much knowledge as possible from the older members. So even if you feel like you have nothing to contribute, I promise you, you absolutely do. And just trying, and even if you think you're contributing trash, that's better than doing nothing at all.
Right. How do you see this club growing in the next 5 years, 2-3 years? What do you expect from this club?
Really, one of the main ways we're looking at growing and creating sustainable growth for the future is hosting fun events that we can engage the entire Oklahoman community in. So for example, we're looking at putting on an Oklahoma-wide hackathon for next year, where we bring in teams from all sorts of universities, TU, OSU, Oral Roberts, host them here for, say, 48 hours, and throw them in a hackathon and see what they can produce. And those are the kind of events that are crucial to keeping the club growing long term. How do you feel our program, our software engineering, our computer science programs match up to those programs at OU, OSU, and ORU? I mean, no hate to them. I think we absolutely have a stronger program than them, though. I've spoken with several transfer students from those programs, and we stack up very well. Great. Well, as we wrap this up, any last minute, meeting information, where you guys meet, any last minute thoughts or you want to leave us with? 6 p.m. Tuesdays every other week in KEP 2040. We provide pizza. Great. Well, Cooper, thank you for joining us. Thank you. And we will get back to the desk. Thank you.
Exciting events. This included the painting of Tucker Drive, a Rage Room event on Wednesday, and a rave on Thursday featuring DJ Austin Mills. All this was building up to the Homecoming Pep Rally on Friday night, where parents, students, and alumni gathered together for food, drinks, and a light show. Because of the bonfire cancellation, further spotlights and a brief smoke show were held in its place at the center of Dealer Commons. Many were disappointed by the bonfire's cancellation, which led to lower than expected turnout for the pep rally. However, students were still able to enjoy a wide variety of fun events throughout the week. Wednesday's Rage and Cane let students relieve midterm stress by throwing plates or smashing cars, as well as exploring their artistic side through a paint splatter room. Drink tickets and food trucks were available at almost every event throughout the week, and while some came just for the food, many ended up staying longer than expected. Thursday's rave proved to be a highlight of the week, with a solid crowd and a vibrant energy throughout the night, as people juggled food, drinks, and dancing.
Keep 'em up!
Overall, it was a fun-filled week of TU pride and celebration, capped off by a successful, if modified, pep rally on Friday and an incredible homecoming game win on Saturday. Excellent work to SAB and the Alumni Association for putting on these events, and we're looking forward to what they have in store for next year's homecoming. For TUTV, I'm Michael Searles.
Hello and welcome back to the desk. I'm Bruce Bigler.
And I'm Anderson Bell. We've got some great stories this week, so let's jump in. Nearly 5 years after the University of Tulsa shockingly cut its performing arts programs, theater productions are back on the campus. The TU Theater Union is putting on its first play this Friday, November 1st, starting at 7 p.m. at the Lorton Performance Center. They'll be performing Euripides' classic Greek tragedy Medea, a story of passion and revenge that has been widely explored by playwrights of its complex theme and relationship with the late 20th century feminist movement. Directed by sophomore Jaden Fording, the project is months in the making with extensive rehearsals, set design, and campus advertising. The TU Theater Union has also partnered with the Honors College, who has offered logistical advice and funding for the full-scale production. The campus is buzzing with excitement as students have the opportunity to witness the return of theater to TU. Admission to the event is free, and a small reception will be held at the LPC following the performance.
Last homecoming week was one of many events and celebrations, although one key component was missing. The annual bonfire, typically held on Dealer Commons during Friday's homecoming pep rally, was unfortunately canceled on Thursday. This was due to a Tulsa County burn ban issued last Monday, October 21st. This restricted the use of fire pits, campfires, and other activities involving fire ignition. This included event burnings that were issued permits prior to the ban, such as the annual TU bonfire. The cancellation was incredibly disappointing for many TU students who look forward to the spectacular bonfire show, with the event frequently mentioned as a primary motivating factor for attending Friday's homecoming festivities. Nevertheless, TU's Alumni Association was able to quickly put together a spotlight and smoke show to complement the existing light show and concert. While not exactly what TU students were hoping for, Friday's event still proved a remarkable success given the short notice of the bonfire's cancellation.
Even without the bonfire, there was still plenty of entertainment last Friday night. Just prior to the pep rally, people gathered at the Lorton Performance Center for the 2024 Fall Film Festival, which screened TU-produced films for visiting parents, students, and alumni.
Last Friday, TU film majors held their semesterly film festival for an open public audience, featuring free popcorn and a red carpet alongside live music from a string quartet. 2 awards were given out that night for the best first-time festival entrant and the general audience favorite. The festival was entirely organized and curated by film students, led by lead curator and TU senior AJ Thompson.
To be honest with you, I would be selfish to say it was a lone mission as lead curator. We had guys like Josh Murray, Charlie Edwards, Sam Allen, Bryce Kusick, Willow Smith, Isaac. Just knowing how much work all these young filmmakers have put in, and all of our professors and coordinators and everything just have put in. I mean, this is just a great night, and a great night for all of us filmmakers.
TUTV's own Glenn Gutierrez won the audience vote for his film Full Body Catastrophe, which was produced during last spring's Narrative 1 production class. Film majors in attendance relished this opportunity to screen each other's work, as laborious projects such as these often rarely appear outside the classroom.
Yeah, it's kind of like that one quote, whether you love it or you hate it, you watched. And like that's kind of the way I have to go about it, really, is just getting that reaction from someone and knowing that your work put an impact in some way, somehow on somebody. I mean, as filmmakers, that's what we work for.
For TUTV, I'm Michael Searles.
Thank you so much for joining us for this week's entertainment news. Until next time.
Hi, my name is Nyla Walker. I am a Bachelor of Fine Arts student with a focus in graphic design. And this project that I'm going to show you today is for my digital drawing and illustration class. So a brief summary of the project is that we were meant to find an article that we enjoy or that we find interesting, and we're supposed to make an illustration to match it as if we were to put it into like a magazine. So the article I chose is from this tribal newspaper from the Choctaw tribe, my tribe, and it's about hydropower, this hydropower project that's going to be implemented and how it'll affect the sovereignty of the land and like the animals in the area, because a lot of the people in the area are opposing this project, but it might still be funded because it's meant to provide energy to Texas. So one thing that the article touches on is how it can negatively affect some of the migrating animals in the area, or just some of like the natural like living animals in the area, such as different species of bats. This hydropower project can negatively affect the migration of monarch butterflies. And so I tried to capture that in my piece here. As if you look right here, we have some bats and we have some butterflies going across this moon. We have the actual river that the project is going to take place on. So we were supposed to kind of like find inspiration for how we wanted to style our work. And so for this specifically, I decided to do the style based off of Where the Wild Things Are, the children's book series that used to freak me out as a child. But so right now I just have like the basic line art that I'm going to use, and I have like the basic placement of my lighting. So it's not fully complete yet, but we're getting there. So yeah, that's basically my inspiration for it. And we're going to have some text here. of the title of the article and such, and then right over here, we're gonna have a little area where you'll see like the text and the actual pieces of the article.
Hey, welcome back to the desk. I'm Anderson Bell.
And I'm Bruce Bigler. This week has been a big one for sports, so without further ado, let's hop right in.
All right. In what can only be described as a homecoming miracle, Tulsa took down UTSA on Saturday after being down by a score of 35-7 at the end of the first half. After an injured Kirk Francis exited the game, Utah State transfer Cooper Terrill came into the game at the end of the first half. Previously, Terrill had been used as a running option at quarterback, being alternated with Francis over the last 2 games. After only 125 yards of total offense in the first half, Tulsa looked as advertised this season, unmotivated and uninspiring. With the switch at quarterback, Tulsa came out of the half a completely different team. Tulsa started the second half with a 35-yard fumble returned for a touchdown. The offense would then proceed to score on every possession for the remainder of the half, including 3 touchdowns to wide receiver Camden Benjamin, who ended the game with 7 receptions for 125 yards and 3 touchdowns. In an interview on Sunday, Tulsa head coach Kevin Wilson said that he had given up the offensive play calling duties and that he, quote, was trying to be a head coach for a change. Tulsa finished the game with 437 total yards and now holds the title for largest comeback in the nation this year, knocking off the Roadrunners 46-45.
Just 2 hours after the end of the Tulsa homecoming football game, Tulsa men's soccer secured their first road victory of the season. Facing off against USF in Tampa, Tulsa came into the game not having a single road victory and only 2 wins on the season, ranking dead last in the American Conference standings. USF held a 3-2 record in conference play and was ranked 3rd in the American with wins against Memphis, FIU, and Temple. Tulsa got the scoring off first after a corner kick from Alvaro Torrijos was redirected by Tulsa captain Wes Bottenberg, the second goal of the season for the junior defender from the Netherlands. USF would even the score in the 57th minute off the foot of John Adekunle, the German grad student's first goal of the season. USF had a chance to take the lead in the final 10 minutes after a penalty kick was awarded to the Bulls, but was called back after officials consulted VAR. 2 minutes later, Camilo Vargas scored the match-winning goal, the 4th goal of the season for the Spaniard. Tulsa will have a key matchup this Friday against Temple to determine if they reach the American Conference Championship.
Nearing the end of October, the Tulsa women's soccer team has entered scary season, as they have not won a conference match since early October. In a 2-game week, Tulsa faced off against UAB and USF, 2 of 3 remaining conference matchups before the conference tournament. In their match against the Blazers, Tulsa had plenty of opportunities to find the net, with a total of 26 shots and 14 shots on goal. UAB ended the match with only 6 shots and 1 shot on goal. UAB's only shot on goal came from Maya Clark in the 22nd minute, a shot that found net and gave UAB the lead and ultimately the victory. Tulsa would then face off against USF on Sunday, who are ranked number 1 overall in the American with only 1 conference loss. USF had 22 shots with 7 on goal, while Tulsa was held to 12 shots, 4 of which were on goal. Tulsa goalkeeper Tatum Sanders was the hero for the Golden Hurricane with 7 saves and another shutout for the senior, but offensively, Tulsa could not find an opening and added a 3rd tie to their record alongside 7 wins and 8 losses. Tulsa will face off against Memphis in Tennessee before preparing for the American Conference tournament.
Tulsa volleyball held a 2-game homestand for homecoming weekend, facing off against UAB in Memphis on Friday and Sunday. On Friday, Tulsa faced UAB for the 2nd time this season. Their last meeting ended in a 5-set thriller that went in favor of the Golden Hurricane. In their second meeting, Tulsa made sure to end the night quickly, with the first 3 sets ending in favor of the Golden Hurricane. Tulsa ended with a .241 hitting percentage, while holding UAB to a .131 hitting percentage, as well as 21 errors in the 3 sets. In the match, Tulsa libero Marta Picali earned her 2,000th career dig. Just one match after setter Braden Hipp earned her 1,000th career assist. Tulsa continued their dominance in the match against Memphis, taking the match in 3 sets after a 5-point comeback late in the second set propelled Tulsa to their second sweep of the weekend. Tulsa is tied for third in the American, sitting at 7-3 in conference play as they take on a home-and-home matchup against Wichita State coming this weekend. A big week for Tulsa sports. We had a lot of different things going on. And honestly, one of the first weeks that we can be proud of.
Yeah, very big week. Yeah, Tulsa looks like a real football team this week. You know, insane comeback. Finally got things figured out at quarterback. So I'm excited to see the rest of the season personally.
Me too. Were you able to stay for much of the football game?
Oh, I left 2 minutes into the second quarter.
2 minutes
I
in.
thought it was over. Got dinner with my parents rather. Came back right as the game was about to end. So
hey, you caught the last few minutes in?
Yep.
I wasn't there, but I heard the stadium was just absolutely electric.
It was. All 10 of us that were down there in the student section were really fired up. Yeah, that's for sure.
Usually I stay till the end of every single game there to sing the alma mater, but I left at halftime this time, and I can say for the rest of the season, hopefully the rest of my TU career, I will be in the stands to the very last minute, because
for sure.
I guess TU is a fourth quarter team. I'll just say it.
I guess so. I mean, look, we finally got our offense figured out. It's the first time we've scored more than I want to say 27 points for ever since the home opener. So finally got it figured out.
Come on. Yeah, hopefully this bodes well for the rest of our season, and TU just keeps up the good work. That's all for sports this week. Thanks so much for tuning in with us.
Breaking news! A local environmental group is protesting this year's TU annual homecoming bonfire by stealing the firewood from the university and creating a barrier of musicians around the stack, which they have named the Fire Band.
Yeah, man, we don't want the University of Tulsa to keep polluting the air with all this nasty smoke from their annual bonfire, so we're gonna protest it with this fire ban, man.
Gentlemen, we have a big problem. Homecoming at TU uses 60% of all tuition to properly pull it off. It makes the school look better when the parents come into town. However, with this new fire band, we are going to have to come up with another solution to this problem. Any ideas? Any at all? I will literally take the first idea and roll with it. President Carson? Goldie? You two usually have good ideas.
We can put a bunch of lights in a circle and blast a bunch of smoke machines to pretend that it's a fire.
Thank you, Campus Possum, who literally has a smooth brain. I'm sure this is a great idea that will definitely not cause a campus-wide riot.
Breaking news! After a lazily pulled-together bonfire ceremony, the students of the University of Tulsa have decided to riot, saying, quote, "I guess we'll have to make our own bonfire," before burning down the school, completely nullifying the efforts of the fire band.
This is indeed troubling news, and I hope the culprit responsible for this uproar...
Oh my goodness.
The videography and shot selection for Brad Carson Adventures has truly gotten incredible.
Oh God.
Over the however, was this like the 5th season of Brad Carson Adventures?
That was a pretty horrifying episode, if I do say so.
Horrifying, but could have come true, I believe.
That is true. But speaking of horrifying, Halloween is coming up.
Halloween is coming up.
So do you plan on celebrating or doing anything?
So usually I'm not a big fan of Halloween since it requires you to buy a costume, and I don't really like spending money on things that I wear once. But this year is different since it is my senior year. I am going as Joe Cool. If you are a fan of Charlie Brown or Snoopy, Joe Cool, I'm getting, snaps from the box. Joe Cool is my costume. I'm
here for it. I love Charlie Brown. When I think of autumn, I think of the Great Pumpkin. What else better symbolizes the season?
Yeah.
So yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to dress up. I do have a class where we're going to get extra credit. What do I have in my closet, though, is the question. Because I'm kind of like you. I don't really want to go spend money.
Okay.
I've been creating a Renaissance fair costume, so I might just be a medieval little girl. I don't know.
You know, whatever works. Whatever gets you that extra credit points. Hopefully both
Exactly.
of my economics classes offer that.
That would be very nice.
Would very much need it. But I think that concludes this episode of TUTV. Thank you for watching. I'm Joe McCurdy.
And I'm Avery Jamerson.
We will see you next time.
See ya.